Now, when you watch a guy washing his car for a rainy day, what would you call that? An act of love, an act of lunacy or obsession? And similarly, when you see someone devoting their entire lifetime towards a car from a whole different era, I wonder again if it's an act of lunacy, love and obsession. Today at PowerDrift, I will explore into the very relationship and what lies underneath it. The relationship between a man and his machine. This and a whole lot more ramblings about cars and especially vintage cars is what we're going to indulge ourselves into at PowerDrift today, and needless to say, I'm going to take you along with me on a journey like this. To begin with, my first car that I'm in here right now is the Chevrolet Impala 1960 3-liter straight 6 inline 6. That is, engine configuration has about nearish 85 horsepower. Let's get talking to the very owner of this car.
In today's day, with today's world and the traffic, it's so difficult to drive this car on a normal day, on a traffic or things like that. But it's a passion, it's a inner feeling, you know, that we love the cars, and this is something which I think any car lover would like to own it.
Straight from the Chevrolet Impala, we are out here standing right next to another beauty, the Triumph. It's a 1970s car, it's 1300cc, inline 4-cylinder. But let's get to know all these interesting facts right from Mr. Erish Kotwal, and his wife Roxanne. So, Mr. Erish Kotwal, tell us a little bit about the whole vintage scenario in India.
India has a very, very good history about cars, because vintage cars, because there were so many Maharajas, and they in fact brought so many cars into the country a long time ago, before independence, and those cars of course are still here, and we are trying of course to revive most of them. Some of them are already in loving hands, so it's doing a good job, and hopefully we'll see more of them on the road.
Well, actually, I think before he met me, he was much more involved with the car and used to go for long drives. And after he met me, well, it has reduced quite a bit. But I'm happy that whenever possible, he does try to take the car out for a spin, and I'm happy that he enjoys it.
It's almost like preserving a piece of heritage, like preserving a piece of history in your garage. Now, all these cars that are behind me have good stories to tell, and just letting these cars crumble to dust in the air would be like losing a huge part of automobile heritage. How difficult does it get now for you, especially now that you're going to work in your vintage car? How difficult is it to be sitting in a modern car, and do you feel something amiss?
Yes, after the trip of Rajasthan, I could not adjust to my modern car for about 2 days. Okay. I found it difficult driving the automatic car.
Right.
But it's all fine. I really enjoyed using this car.
Do you have to be rich to own a vintage car?
Not necessarily, but it's getting expensive now.
It is. Okay.
There are a lot of people who own Fiats who are not that too well-to-do, but yes, it is getting expensive.
So it helps if you're rich, of course. Like
of course, yes. Passion. Then you can redo the whole car from scratch, from top above, and spend as much money you want and buy all new spares.
What sees an owner of a vintage car through that tedious process of restoring a car? Is it just passion alone, or is it also a sort of an investment in the car?
For me, it's passion. It's a hope. There's always a hope that the car will get done one day. And investment, really, that's by the way for me, because when you don't sell, then there is no question of investment.
Right. So which would be the modern car of today that you can foresee, given your expertise, in to be a classic car for the future, if at all there is any?
One day people will collect the two-door Maruti Zens. You watch. They are already very few to be seen.
Yeah.
And one day people will collect.
Okay. I'm only getting happier spending my time out here amongst these timeless beauties, and the person I have with me right now is Gyanesh Samant, and the car that we are in is his car. This happens to be a Mercedes A180, not the A-Class of today, but the A-Class of 1959. The entire seat, which is the front seat, looks like a couch, but it does go back and forth.
Correct.
Can we just do that for the viewers? Yeah. And it's a one-finger operation, this smooth.
And these are the indicators when you're these are the...
Oh wow! These are the indicators. So you're now indicating right.
Right, and this is the left.
It's a great pleasure being here, especially when I met the owners of these cars. One could see the love they have for their beauties, so to say, and the care that they take of these cars. So it's a totally different world, and it kind of opened up a few windows in my head or tabs that I'm like, wow, people do have so much passion, which is great to see.
And what is it to be a part of this entire Lavasa vintage rally at a venue which is again as beautiful as some of the machines out here, lakeside at the back, beautiful colorful buildings?
Yes, I think it's a perfect setup for something like this, a vintage car rally like this. Lavasa, I think, is gorgeous. It's really stunning, and I hope that this continues and it gets more and more cars every year.
Jay Leno once had to say that if you drive up in an old car, it's actually driving. It's a physically involving experience that cannot be matched by any other modern car. They say you will never see a mad or sad person in a classic vintage car. But all that I saw today here were people madly in love with their cars, people who are absolutely passionate. And for the first time ever, I felt bad for not being mad enough.